From us damn street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all the attention. So what you trying to say?
Do what you do, baby.
Yeah, I want congrats. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me?
Real.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole joke, and I'm looking at the screen like preach. Cause I was on the phone with him, you feel me? So you know what I'm saying?
It's Peter, not the general. To know the podcast. You keep your body clean, huh? Yeah. All right, y'all. How y'all doing? Hope everybody having a very to NOLA day so far. I know I am. Right now we about to get into this very special edition, right? It's about mental health awareness in the Black community. It's a big problem. A lot of people don't take it serious. A lot of people don't understand it, and a lot of people are suffering with it by themselves. They don't want to admit it, or they're embarrassed, or whatever. However, so we about to get into that, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Can y'all please pay attention and really take it serious, because as a community, I don't think that we take this serious enough. And I could start with myself with that notion. I recently just started taking it serious, and just really trying to understand what people go through when they go through it. You heard me? So bring my guests on and let's get it started.
Hey,
What's up,
okay?
man?
What's going on with you?
I'm cool. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm good. You heard me? All right, so you want to get straight into it, or you want to shout some of your people out first?
However you want to do it, I'm with you.
All right, so won't you formally introduce yourself to the viewers? You heard me?
I'm Tiffany Thomas, and you my cousin Yana, or husband.
Yes, ma'am.
And we done had a couple of inboxes about the depression and anxiety, and that's what we on here to talk about today.
You heard me? Where you from, Tip?
I'm from New Orleans, the 7th Ward,
All right,
2515 La Hope.
all right. Oh, yeah, then.
Yes, always, always, always.
Won't you give the viewers, right, the people not from New Orleans, a little insight in the background on coming up in the 7th Ward, New Orleans? You heard me?
Oh, well, back in the day, it was way, way much better than what it is today. Because at least when we grew up, we had times where we can be outside, play calm, meet the people down the street, and and hang for the day, and us having fun. But these days, people can't even go outside and have fun in New Orleans right now. It's too hot. Can't you don't yeah, it's too dangerous. You don't know if your children gonna get taken a shot these days, because people don't care. So
Yeah.
it's a little different now.
In your opinion, what happened?
Well, in my opinion, there's nothing for the kids like they have for us. There's nothing here. We used to have the YMCA. We had Joe Brown Park. They had all kind of Nord events that we had for kids. Back in the day, we had things that we were able to keep them busy. Well, now everything that we have had, they're taken away. Even some of the schools that these children have fun, things, the public schools that we usually have, we don't even have those no more with the fun activities.
The after school activities.
Right. There's nothing for the kids to do. So if there's nothing for them to do, what you think gonna happen? They're gonna get into it, get peer pressured, let anybody tell them they can be these big gangster people, when reality is you can die and go to jail doing all of those things.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, you spoke of when we was younger, we had all these activities, different things that you spoke of. All this takes funding. The funding was taken away from those activities, and put other places. Was,
Right.
in your opinion, was this done on purpose to have a direct effect on our community as it had? In your opinion?
Yeah. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, yeah. Why
Oh,
not? Why not take everything that's keeping them out of the street and let them do what they want? Then we can lock them up. Since when you ever heard of a 12, a 13-year-old putting a gun to somebody's head and robbing them for a call? Come on, we ain't used to do none of that
especially a
down here.
whole person.
You know,
Especially,
we
yeah, yes,
we ain't
ma'am.
never do none of that. So they're allowing them to do these things so they can be slaves, basically, because that's all they becoming. Because once
Yeah,
you put me back in jail and I'm working for 5 cents a day, I'm considered a slave.
yes,
So
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
um, if they can do that, they don't care about the young people. This city don't care nothing about young people. It's all about what they making now. Money's in their pockets.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
nothing about the people. Period.
Them some strong words. Tell that
Period.
me. Yeah,
Reality of it is
period.
you could pass right by the bridge alone right there coming um like if you go to up the overpass, where's that, right before you get on to Claiborne around Simon Boulevard and
Mm-hmm.
Loyola up there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people living up under the bridge. For what? For
Mm.
what? We have too many buildings that they can put together and put those people in. For
And
what?
I say
It's all
this.
about money here.
We have too many black billionaires for any of this to be going on. It starts
Right.
at home and it starts in the community. We can't
Right.
look to the same people who put us in this position to get us out of this position.
Right.
But I mean, that's a whole nother subject for you to come back on. You hear me? So we
I
already
got
got
you.
volume two. You feel me? So we here for depression and other
And
mental health
anxiety.
illness. Yeah, it's depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues in the community. Can you exactly define depression? Like, does it have a definition, or is it just a feeling?
It's no, well, in a way, the way to define it for me is basically it got to deal with what you going on that what's going on with you that day. Because a person can be walking around smiling, having fun, laughing, and joking. In reality, they still is depressed inside. There's different type of depression. So with that being said, it goes by what that person have a pressure on them or whether
Mm-hmm.
they don't have pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be, depression could come in any forms. Like for me, it's um like I'm not able to do the things that I used to do anymore because my body don't allow me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a form of depression. You can also be depressed because where you wanted to be in life, you're not. So depression comes in all different forms. Cause you really can't, categorize it. Let's just say you
Right.
can't really categorize it because you can see a person that you see every day, happy go lucky, and next thing you know, you go to work or something, this person that killed themselves. And everybody asking, well, how? And we know this person here was the sweetest, lifelike, looked like they wanted to be there. But yes, indeed, they killed themselves.
Mm.
So depression comes in so many forms that it is really hard to define. But the only way to define it is to see which depression and what they're going through at that moment.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Um, the causes of depression, right? Is it a
Mm.
trigger? Does it come out of nowhere? How exactly does depression come down on a person?
Some people it's hereditary.
Mm,
To be honest, some people inherit depression.
mm,
And instead of having depression, they inherit depression.
mm,
Because I can say, like, especially for our generation, we
mm,
inherit depression. We
mm,
inherit depression because we was like, let's say, like the first forefront, like in the 90s, a lot of stuff people look up today. You always hear them say, we wish it was the 90s again. We wish, we can go back to that time again or whatever. For us, we didn't have it easy, so the way we came up, it defines how we have depression as well. So I guess in these days, these children can't handle. We were able to handle things back then, but
mm.
now the times have changed where kids not able to handle depression.
I be saying that, like, these kids, to piggyback off of what you said, we came up so hard that we didn't want to see our children go through that. Did we
Exactly.
cripple them in your opinion? Did we soften them up?
I think we did.
I think we did
Because
too.
my children think they are so privileged. I don't know, and then I had to think about what I did. I tried to shield them from, well, me and my husband both tried to shield them from what we got and change it. But
Mhm.
I think we should have gave them a little bit more what our parents gave us,
Yeah.
so they could
Tough love.
actually be out there getting it instead of thinking it's always given to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Because by us supplying what they need, they didn't learn how to go and get it
Go get it.
themselves. Like we had to learn how to go get it ourselves. And that helped us grow up. Whereas now we don't want our children to go through the things that we do, that we actually made them handicapped. We
Mm,
handicap them. So, and then now you got to try to fix it before you leave the earth, because you know at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to survive because you didn't kind of handicap them a little bit.
yes, yes,
But they learning. I can say for me, as they got older, I made sure that I flipped the script so they could learn,
yes, ma'am.
because now I feel that minds can stand on their own because they
Mhm.
didn't have to go through some stuff,
Yes, ma'am.
you know,
Ma'am.
and understand. And that's another thing, how we crippled them. We didn't help them to learn how to deal with problems.
Yeah.
We didn't give them, because we was able to deal with their problem and just go on. I think in our time we put a lot of stuff on the shelf too. That's where our depression came from. More
Define that. Yeah.
putting the stuff on
Define
the shelf because we knew we had to
what
survive
define
what we were
define
going
put
through.
stuff on the show.
Like, say for instance, something traumatic in your life happened. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Say for instance, let's say for me, I watched somebody get their head blown off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, in the process of that, I could have put it in my mind and kept it in my mind
Mm-hmm.
and keep reliving it. But what I did, what I did, and what I always do, I compartmentalize. I'll take that situation and put it way back and don't even think of it in my mind no more. I don't put it in my mind no more, because if I put it in my mind, it's gonna make me sad. It's gonna make me have dread. It's gonna make me wonder why I had to see all of that and all that. So what I do is I take and I put things on the shelf. Well, and I leave it there. Once I leave it there, I'm not going back to revisit it.
Right.
And I know they say that's bad, but in the city we live in, you have no choice but to put it on the shelf and keep moving and
Some
just
people
pray
say
that you
mhm.
you stay sane.
Some
You
people say
know?
that your brain automatically blocks out trauma. Do you think
Yes.
that sort of putting it on the shelf, then your brain kind of storing it in like a what you call a USB in the back of your head.
Right.
So it's like you see, you saw somebody's head blown up. I saw a couple of people get their head blown up, right?
Right.
That it didn't really make me depressed, it made me paranoid. It made
Yes.
me react to situations differently to not put myself in the position to die. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Survival mode.
Right.
You see what
Survival
I'm
mode.
saying? Um, mhm.
But see, you said you didn't it didn't make you depressed, is what you
I
said?
don't. Well, I'm gonna say this right. I don't have enough knowledge on depression to know if I was either depressed or like I was hurt and like I turned up. You know what I'm saying?
What happened is paranoia changes into anxiety.
Wait,
Anxiety
wait, wait,
then
wait, wait. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get
okay.
the anxiety. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Uncle, tell us some of the symptoms of depression.
um for as some people, I can say, well, let me say for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, by me being a person that can kind of departmentalize it, I kind of push minds away. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'll go do something, like I sing a lot. I go sing and do that. I travel doing that. I put myself in stuff to make me not be down. Or I make sure that I'm doing something where I'm not down. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? It's because if you down, then you stay in that little slump.
Keep yourself busy.
Yeah, you constantly wallow in that. Why would you want to wallow in that? So the best thing is to do is keep moving, be mindful of it, and keep praying, because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really go anywhere. It
Okay.
doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't.
What? What?
You have better days than some.
Yeah, yeah. What are the key signs of depression?
Mood change,
Mm-hmm.
the lack of eating, um seem like you some people have what they always making themselves say. You always see that person that's at the party and trying to make everybody have fun and
Yes.
everybody be lighting. Is that because they don't, if I can make you happy, then we both gonna be laughing and happy and I don't have to feel my depression. That's a sign. They wear masks. That's I say. That's a good way to explain it. They wear masks. So being this fake person and putting on this armor that you have to get up and put on this other person just so you can get through the day, is a sign and a symptom. And then when you get to the point where you got to put on this other person another day, it's time to start talking to somebody, because when you keep doing that, it's dangerous. You can go
All
into
right.
danger. That's
Let me cut
danger.
you off. Let me cut you off right there. Right. Like you spoke of compartmentalizing.
Hmm.
Do you think that when we store all those memories in that USB, everything comes like back forefront at the same time, and that's what
Yep.
overwhelms us?
Yep.
That's what I think it is
That's
too.
exactly what it is. And then something puts on top of what you're already dealing with, and it makes it more. You know what I'm saying? When you're going through that little stage, look like everything that's supposed to go right, not going right, everything is wrong. So it
Yeah.
puts more on you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So people be having that. It's a lot of signs and symptoms of depression, but it's all about the individual and you knowing that individual. You know how that individual is supposed to be, and you see that individual acting outside of themselves. You know it's a type of depression. You see people get on drugs just for not to feel depressed, not to feel down, not to feel a weight,
Mm-hmm.
not to feel the weight of the world, because that's what it is, basically the weight of the world. You try to
Right.
do everything. The perfect song that explains depression. Solange knows. Cranes in the Sky. You ever heard that song?
No.
If you listen to Cranes in the Sky, she say she tried to dance it away. She tried
Mm-hmm.
to shop it away. She
Mm-hmm.
tried to sex it away. She tried to do everything she can to get rid of her depression, but it wouldn't know. Everything just felt like cranes in the sky, like metal
Mm-hmm.
clouds. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how she tried to lift herself up, no matter how much she tried to change herself, it felt like the lightness was always heavy. So
Right.
that if you get a chance, listen to that, and it'll explain to you all the signs and symptoms. People wonder why people gamble so much. People wonder why people shop so much. They're trying to get their mind off the troubles that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and depression. People don't realize depression is one of the worst things in the world.
Wow.
Period. Because
Yeah.
people, it changed people the way they act and the way they move.
Thanks.
You know.
Okay. Can you feel depression coming on? Is it a feeling that you get and you be like, shit, I'm about to get depressed? Or is it like boom, pop up, boom, it just come on you like that though?
It's both.
Mm.
It's both. There are times where it just drop on you from out of nowhere. You have no idea why you feeling like this. You have no idea why all this stuff is making you feel so heavy and so down. You constantly crying. You constantly just want to sleep. Don't want to go nowhere. Don't want to do nothing. That's the one that when it just coming. But there are times when you could feel yourself going down.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take days for you to get, all the way to the point where you didn't block yourself from all your friends. You don't want to talk. It's too heavy. By it being too heavy, I can't even have a conversation with my friend, because if my friend have a problem, I can't help her solve her problem at this point because I'm too heavy. So you're gonna find those people start to become introverts, and they're gonna start, closing themselves off. So
What's
it
that?
gradually
What's
goes
the
out.
what's an introvert?
uh, like a person who basically become like a hermit. They stay
Wait,
inside.
what's a
They don't
hermit?
want to be. Yeah, they don't want to be.
What's a hermit?
That's a person that just want to not be around no other energy because they cannot take nothing. They didn't reach to
Antisocial?
their breaking point. Well, they'll have a family function and be like, no, I can't go to the family function. I want to go. I'm excited to go. But when my body get ready to want to go out that door to entertain these people, I don't have the energy or the mindset to actually deal with it. So I'm gonna stay at home while y'all go have fun. I'm gonna stay at home, watch the TV, and do some other things that I want to do because I have so much on me that I don't have the energy to help somebody else. So what I do is I seclude myself from everything and everyone, which is not good. It's not a good thing, but it happens.
I think I suffer with depression.
Probably,
I think I
probably
do.
do.
I think I
Probably do. If you find yourself fainting away from a lot of things and you rather be by yourself and not be bothered with nobody, sometimes, yeah, you are suffering, but you just have to push yourself and get it. Do like family, like little small family things at first. That's what I had to start doing. Me and my girls will go to the park, go sit down and on the porch, eat some crawfish or something like that. We'll go. Me and my husband go sit on the lake, talk, eat crabs or something like that. So you have to start pushing yourself to get out. And once you start getting out into the atmosphere and feeling the sun and how nice it is outside, you gonna want to stay inside, but then you gotta force yourself to get out there because if you're not, you becoming a hermit, and that's not good. It's
so
not good.
is it depression or is it just you just sick of the shit?
Is
That's
it
what I
what
think.
depression or what?
I'm just sick of everything. Like I don't want
That's the
to
type of
feel
depression.
bad. I don't want to be bothered over here. They act, they whoop the whoop. I ain't trying to do this here. I ain't on that type of time no more. They got this here all on my back. I'd rather sit inside, play a game, sit inside, go live.
Right. So
Just
that's the
be.
type of depression. Anytime you can't deal with the issues of life, it's
It's
a
not that I
depression.
can't. It's just that it's sometimes it be so much that I
Right.
just like. All right, I'm gonna take my time for myself because I know when I leave about my man kid, it's boom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, this like a safe haven.
Yeah. I feel you. Trust me, I understand where you're at because I be there. And there
Yeah,
are times I be sitting at home and I just look at my phone and I see people calling me. I don't
yeah,
have the energy or the time to answer you at this point
for
because
real. Yeah,
my mental right now is I have no more outlet for you.
exact.
So what I
It's
rather
like
do,
you take so much in, and you don't want to reciprocate that energy. So I,
right,
yeah, it's
right.
like you said, what you what you say that big ass word? Category,
What? Which one?
not categorize it. You compartment.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Compartmentalize.
yeah, and it's like I don't want to take it out on the wrong people, so I just hold it in.
Right. So you stay away. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
know where you're at. I feel you.
what
Trust
what
me.
what toll exactly does depression take on your body? Like what happens
Ooh.
um physically and mentally when you you know the so to speak depressed?
Oh, it takes a real toll on your body. Well, for me, I had cancer
Okay.
4 times. So by me doing that and going through that, I developed, which I probably would have had because I'm finding out that it's hereditary. I developed fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia does not allow me to do a lot. So by me knowing what I could have done and what I used to do, and I can't do that no more, it bothers me. So that's the toll it takes on my body. I'm not able to do the things that I used to do. So by me not being able to do the things that I used to do, it makes me depressed. And depression on the body, when you're
Mm-hmm.
depressing your mind, it makes everything hurt. Even if you don't, you probably not hurt. It make everything hurts when you really down like that. Even if you having some pain, it makes your pain feel 10 times magnified. So it does. Your mental does have something, to deal with your body when you
Mm-hmm.
down like that. It makes your whole body just feel ugh. If
Right.
if if that's the way of saying it, yeah. So it does affect the body.
Um, in your opinion, why do so many people keep it to themselves, not speak on it, or kind of feel weak when they're going through that? In your opinion?
Because that's what they don't want to feel. Weak.
Mm-hmm.
They're already feeling weak in what they're going through. So feeling weak and somebody having pity on them is a problem, because I know that's me. I don't want nobody to pity
Don't
me.
feel sorry for me.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for me. Pray for me, but don't feel sorry for me. So by people knowing that people will still feel sorry for them, and you know, it's too much sometimes. So in other words, instead of telling you my problems, girl, just pray for me, and I'm gonna keep it to myself. You know, you don't want that added. And then you have sometimes you have some people that want to know what you're going through, and you don't want to talk about what you're going through.
You don't
So
really know.
you rather keep it to yourself. Yeah, you rather
Sometimes
keep
you
it to
don't really
yourself.
know. Like me, my wife be like, "What's wrong?" And I be like, "Nothing." But in my head, I be like, "I don't even fucking know what's wrong." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanna, like, I don't know. I just want to do something, but I be like, "Fuck it." You know what I'm
But
saying?
yep,
Like,
that's
it's
how it be. The
always something.
reality of it is she gonna always know when something wrong. So
She just knows it.
even though you say no, she
She
still knows
just,
something is wrong. My husband do the same thing. I know something wrong, but y'all got this thing where y'all want to protect us and don't want to tell us what y'all going through. And sometimes you just don't know what you're going through. Well, in that time, just say the easier thing to say to make us feel a little better. Babe, I just pray for me. I'm all right. Keep moving on like that if you can't explain it, because then in that case now she's worried because she knows something wrong, but you're not telling her what's wrong, and that caused depression for her as well.
damn. See, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's a big thing. And I can't speak for all men, but I'm gonna speak for me. When women say men don't communicate, it's not that we don't communicate. It's that she go talking out shit in the background. But it's not that we don't want to communicate. It's just that y'all. Well, I'm gonna say my wife, right? She looks at me like I'm just like that nigga, like woo woo woo, like like. So
right,
if I'm going through something, I don't want to push it on her, so to speak,
right.
or I don't want to lose my I'm that nigga title, like nothing get to him. You know what I'm
But
saying?
guess what? You're not gonna never lose that you're that nigga type. Even if you get weak to her, your weakest is your strongest. When you allow her to see you in your weakest place, that make you the strongest, because now you're allowing her to do her job. Her job is to be your helpmeet. Her job is to comfort you in the hard times, because you are the one that's supposed to make the decisions. You are the one that's over the house. So when you do that, it makes her feel like, okay, he don't want to tell me, he don't want to talk, but you gonna want her to talk about her inner feelings to you. You see what I'm saying? So you have to think about the flip side of it. If I'm your helpmeet and I'm supposed to encourage you and make you feel good, I know you don't want me to worry. I know you don't want me to stress, but now I'm worried and I'm stressed about you all as well as whatever the problem is. So, sometimes you just gotta be like, I'm okay, but you just pray for me and we gonna be okay. Don't just say I'm okay, because you're not okay, because she can feel you're not okay. We
She
feel
better
that.
mind her business.
It ain't gonna never happen. Now, when God gave it to you, it ain't gonna never happen.
Better
She
mind
gonna
her
feel it
business.
every time. She is not gonna stop. Even sometimes we'll be sleeping, and what y'all don't understand is, by us being that person for her, God will tell us things before y'all even show signs of it. But we, even though when we say what's wrong, half of the time we know y'all gonna say nothing. We know y'all gonna say, because that's the type of men y'all are. You gonna say nothing, but we know something is wrong. But just let her know you're gonna be okay. If you could say you could be okay, she's gonna be okay. But when
She
you
know
say
that though. She
nothing
know I'm gonna
and
be
don't
all
give her
right.
no feedback, it gives worry. It gives off worry. It really do. It
I
gives
just
off
tell her
worry.
I'm
Y'all,
tripping.
y'all,
I just
ooh,
tell her I ain't
y'all
tripping.
tough, but we know.
She be
We
like,
know.
"What's wrong?" I be like, "I ain't tripping, man. I ain't." You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
she could feel it. It's a feeling. Ain't nothing, and it ain't gonna change. As long as y'all married, she gonna have that connection.
In your opinion, how does depression affect the people around the so the depressed one, so to speak?
We need to try to break it, because when we're depressed, we don't realize that our kids are as well. It took me to my children got an adult for them to explain to me, like, every time I got sad, they knew. They know when we sad. They know when we down. And telling them everything is gonna be okay. It's not always good. I learned because they know that some of them learn that that's a brush off. So it's okay to tell them things that they can understand. In other words, instead of telling them the whole problem, you give them some of the issue where you know that they could understand. Well, for me, my kids didn't know I was as sick as I was before, but then they found out, and they were mad. They're mad with me because they felt they should have went with it through me instead of me, with me instead of me keeping it from them. But see, me, I thought I was protecting them. You know what I'm saying? When all the while, I wasn't protecting them. They knew what I was going through. They was sad themselves, and they was going through depressions to the point where my youngest daughter had started cutting herself because it was after things after things after things after things. In my lifetime, I done went through some traumatic shit, and my children have been there for most part of it. So watching them, not knowing that my daughter was going through that, the school had to call me and tell me she was going through that. So I had to put her and get her help, because by me trying to hide things from her, this child, I think she had to be like 8 or 9 years old, trying to carry what we carry. And that's not your job to carry that load. So sometimes we have to, even if you don't want to tell them the whole story, we have to sit down and talk to them and let them, we're going through this, but I promise we're going to be okay. And I learned that as going time with my children, not just knowing it. It just took time, but yeah, it affects them. It affects them a lot, and it affects your spouse because they feel everything that you feel. Just like I feel my husband know when something wrong with me. I tell him nothing ain't wrong, and he knows something is wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? So it all of that plays a part. All of that plays a part.
Is depression, right? Is it a kind of self-healing thing? Is it something that you can get over yourself? Do you need prescribed medication, professional help? How does one deal with depression?
The best way for me, because everything that you have asked, I have been through. I took the medication. The medication made me crazy. I had to get off that shit. It made me a whole nother person. All I wanted to do was run from everything. I got off of that stuff. That stuff had me crazy. It had me to the point where I was thinking about killing people. That stuff is not good to be on. I don't care what nobody say. The best thing is to find somebody that you can talk the stuff out with. Find somebody that you can vent to, because when you can vent to it, you can get it out your mind, and somebody can help you see the other perspective of it. It works. Medication, they got shoving down people. If you don't have schizophrenia and all that stuff, you don't need no medication. Some people need and if they have bipolar depression and stuff like that, yeah. But if your depression is not bad and it can be maintained, for me, the best thing to do is find somebody you can talk to and find some way to vent out, and all the way to to deal with it. Because I was on two different type of medications, and both of them were not good. Those medications mess with your mind, and that's to me, no.
I got
Just
my
find another way to do it. You
I got
know.
my medication. my medicator right there. You hear
and
it?
that and that's my medication. That is my
Anything he.
medication. That is my medication. That's it. That is my medication, and it is found that it helps and it don't hurt nothing. You know. So that is my medication. I do self-medicate. Yep.
So you spoke
And
up.
my doctor approves.
So
He approves. So yeah,
spoke,
it's working good.
you spoke of bipolar, you spoke of depression, and you spoke of anxiety. Does one bring on the other? Does one coincide with the other? Like, okay, I'm depressed, so here come the anxiety, here come the or are they three different things? And how do you determine if you're depressed, if you have would you say split personalities? What's that called?
Yeah,
Split
schizophrenia and
personalities.
split personality.
Yeah, and anxiety. How do you decipher between
Well, a person with split personalities, you're gonna know that because they're gonna be two, three different people. For as that they just gonna be two, three different people, and those people really need to get help. Though they need to go into a hospital to work out those different sets because the people are not gonna never come out of their mind. But there's medicine to help them maintain whatever personality that they're dealing with. So with that, that's kind of totally different than just being depressed and bipolar. All right, so that's the one if they're schizophrenic or whatever. Bipolar depression is something that people take medicine because they're up and down. One minute they can be happy, and the next minute they done went off doing frantic things. What they'll do is, I had a friend. What she would do, she had this excessive thing where she had to keep papers when she stopped taking her medicine because she couldn't keep track of stuff because she wouldn't take her medicine. So she would keep these folded sheet of papers with stuff on it, and she would always get them out of order because she was trying to fight off the fact that she needed to take her medicine and that she was bipolar. She didn't want to be bipolar. She didn't want to be on the medicine. She said the medicine kind of slowed her down, but the medicine slowed her down from being the manic person that she was. She liked being into the manic because it allows her to work a lot of hours from what the job that she was doing. Okay, so she didn't want to be on the medicine because the medicine slowed her down. But by her being bipolar, it made her click out to the point she was no longer taking baths. She wasn't brushing her hair. She wasn't brushing her teeth. She wasn't doing none of those things. She totally went down to the fact that the job had to allow her to go get help, and she had a damn good job. You know what I'm saying? She was working for Homeland Security. And she no longer do that anymore. You see what I'm saying? Because it messed up her mind. You know, I knew another person that worked. I wonder if that's that job make them people crazy. Because there was another lady that worked there, and she went crazy too. She went deranged, and she had bipolar stuff too. When she was off her medicine, she went crazy. Her crazy was she was determined that this man was supposed to be her husband. That wasn't her husband because he was married to somebody else. Followed the man, chased the man, but she was bipolar. You know, so her mind made her think otherwise when what she was believing wasn't so. So that's bipolar for as schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a lot of voices. Bipolar is they basically up and down to different people. But when you just have regular depression, you just sad. You put on faces, you put on masks, and you go through the world like everything is okay, and it's not okay. And you did ask me about how can you tell a difference. You said something about um you been in a house because you have more paranoia. But what I was saying earlier is paranoia brings on anxiety, and anxiety brings on depression. Okay, how I say that is, okay, you're a regular person, you're used to being out having the fun. If I'm paranoid, I'm constantly watching my back, watching my surroundings. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing at the moment, which brings on this heaviness of fear, this heaviness of what gonna happen, and then you start to have anxiety. Some people can't handle it to the point they have panic attacks. You know, they be so anxious till they have panic attacks. Now that I'm in this panic attack, I'm miserable because I'm paranoid, but I can't be out with nobody because I can't have no fun with nobody because I'm constantly looking around and I'm not enjoying life, which brings on what? Depression. So those things in hand run down all the way to depression. Depression is one of the biggest things diagnosis in America.
So
It
how
is one of them.
say you don't have the knowledge, say you haven't gone to the doctor. How does one know that what they feeling is depression?
They don't. Some people won't know. I only know because I was in the medical field for 28 years.
Okay.
I know what it looked like. I know what it feel like. I know what it seemed like. I didn't I had I want to say postpartum depression before. So I know how it feels and I know how it look. By me having depression, I know how it feels and I know how it look. I could look at somebody and tell you, oh, they're wearing a mask. They're not being themselves. They're wearing a mask.
Right.
If I'm ever quiet and you don't hear my mouth, I'm wearing a mask. Cause Tiffany like to have fun, talk, joke, do all that different stuff like that. That mean I'm wearing a mask. I'm not being myself. So that's how you know.
And you can't help that.
You can't help it. You can't help it. You can see it. By you going through it, you could be able to see it.
Facts. Do you think we as a community, I'm just talking about the black people, do you think we as a whole take mental illness serious?
No, we don't. We don't take mental illness serious. We really don't. There are other races that basically when their children break down or something go on, something traumatic happen. Let's say that. Say our children, black children, have seen some of the worst traumatic things in their life, period. Whether if they didn't see parents on drugs, whether they didn't see parents getting, beat, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
see their parents doing so much. These kids have, they have seen this in a lifetime. So that alone is hard. And then it's hard being our color, especially a black male. I'm so afraid for my grandboys. So I have to keep praying for them because they're already entering in the world that don't even like them. So they have it harder. Whereas if I'm this Caucasian, I don't work for doctors. Well, if their children have a breakdown at school or they have a fight or something, they automatically bring their children to a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they offer free counseling for kids now if you find out the information for it. But in our community we didn't have money or they didn't give us insurance for these children to get psychoanalyzed when they go through something traumatic. Have you ever heard of anybody that you knew that saw somebody's head get blown off or something like that um they offered any counseling or your parent was able to pay for counseling?
I
No,
mean,
we
when you
don't get
see
that.
stuff like
So it's
that,
harder.
you don't really tell your parents.
No, you don't. And it's harder. It's much harder. It's
Yeah.
much harder when you don't have the help.
Speak. Can you take a little time to speak on the importance of the awareness of depression, bipolarness, and anxiety in our community?
You say when is the great best time to speak on it?
Nah, right now, you heard me speak. Can you take a little time to speak on the importance of awareness of depression, bipolarness, anxiety, and other mental health disorders in our community?
The importance
Like
of it
us,
is
the community um, educating themselves about
right,
them
right.
areas.
See, and that's where it falls on where we lost the funding. Think about
Mm.
it. When you were younger, they had all kind of family planning clinics you can go
Yup,
to. They had all kind of things that young adults can go to talk about it
mm-hmm,
without their parent. You
mm-hmm,
know,
right.
now that we don't have it, it's a fluctuation of youngsters that
Mm-hmm,
have depression that we basically don't know about. You find
mm-hmm,
out that these teenagers and these elementary age children are actually killing themselves. They're killing
mm-hmm,
themselves. So if they can go back to giving out information, and social media is the thing of the world right now. It's the thing of the world. So there's no such thing as pamphlets and commercials giving us the information. Y'all know these kids stay on social media. Find out outlets and things like this, Zoom calls and facial things where they can sit down and talk about their problems, whereas to acting out their problems and making it worse than what it needs to be. Because I really believe if they had somebody to actually talk to in the community, things would be totally different. Some of these children that are doing these things are peer pressured into these things because they
mm-hmm,
have nothing else to turn to from the stuff that they're going through. No, we don't know what's going on at home. We
right.
don't know what they have to deal with. So they turn into the streets and other people doing things that they don't need to do, and it turns out bad for them. And then that's more kids that we have lost in the community due to the fact that we don't have the things that we used to have in place for them, especially in New Orleans. New Orleans have nothing for the kids anymore. But you go to any state, other state, there are programs and everything for young kids and young adults. Even summer programs. We used to have summer programs for free. Children went to summer camp. Not everything is about $1
Right.
because too many politicians want to pad their pockets. How about y'all stop padding your pockets and work with the community? If you work with the community, you maybe gonna get a little bit more money than what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? If you just work with the community, but y'all they so crooked to the point that we'll never get back to the things that we used to have for kids. If we can get back to the things that we used to have, things could be so much better. It could be less depression. When did you really know that a child was really depressed in the 90s or the 80s?
Well, we didn't like.
We
I'm
didn't have
keep
that.
this real. Nigga was gonna be like, boy, you better, man up, or you better, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Nigga don't want to hear all that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Everybody got problems.
Right. In the community, there wasn't a time that I did something that it didn't get back to my family.
Mm-hmm.
When I got a spanking, I did something on the street. Miss Clarita was able to hit me. Miss Wilhelmina was able to hit me until I got all the way home and I was respectful. These kids are not respectful anymore. They are not none of that because you cannot blame them though. Think about it. You
Start that
cannot
home.
blame them. There's nothing there for them to be active in. Y'all have took the monies and did what y'all want to do with it, and you then took it out the communities, and the communities are losing. So it'll be up to, I guess, us to educate our own kids. We will have to educate our own kids to let them know what depression is, so they won't feel the way that they feel. And if we do that, we can be better, much better.
Once you're quote unquote diagnosed with depression, right? Is that something that you can go tell a doctor that you have, or the doctor has to diagnose that? And
They have to diagnose you. They have to
diagnose.
diagnose you.
Okay.
You can look at all the signs and symptoms on a website if you want. You can, but the doctor themselves will have to actually diagnose you with that so it could be in medical records. If you're not diagnosed by a doctor by something, you're not considered of having it. So if you didn't get diagnosed and they say that you have this, you're not saying that you don't have it, you're considered not having it. So the best thing to do is to keep going to the doctor, keep talking to your doctor about how you're feeling, keep giving your doctor the information is what's going on with you, and then they're able to document. By them documented, then they're able to move you along to the next stage where they know they have to send you to a psychiatrist or something like that. But you have to go through the steps. If you don't go through the steps, you'll never know, and you won't ever be diagnosed. And then when you're going for these things, you have to be true. Don't lie. Tell the people actually how you feeling, what's going on, because a lot of us hide how we feeling and how we doing. When we go to them doctors, they don't tell everything, but you have to tell everything. See, my doctor go to ask me questions, what I did, I smoke weed only in the medicine that you give me. So he already know at the beginning of the day what I have in my system, what I'm going on with me, and how to manage me. So you just have to talk. You have to talk and explain.
So once you are diagnosed with depression, is that something like that heals, or does it just go away, or is it an uncurable thing?
See, it's really something like having, let's say, like having cancer.
Okay.
Is either in remission or it's not. You feel me? Because it's all about you and what you're going through and your emotions. So you can't really say when somebody's having it and when they're not having it. I can go for about 5 years and I have depression, but something can happen in my life, traumatic or on set, to cause me to go back over the deep end. So you can't really say it's like cancer. Either you're in a remission or you're not. You know what I'm saying? Either you have it or either you don't. You're gonna go through ups and downs. It's like waves. It's curable, but not always kept away. If that's explaining enough for you.
Right. Okay. In your opinion, right? Can somebody get rid of it themselves? Can you deal with it on your own, or you have to go get the medication, or do you have to go get the help?
If you know yourself, you could deal with it on your own. Because I had stopped going to the doctor and been dealing with it on my own for the longest. if you know yourself. And then like for me, I have a partner I'm able to talk to. So um he know when I get upset, I'm calling the first person. I don't care if he at work, I'm pulling up at his job. Look what the hell they did me. I don't care, cause I know at the end of the day he don't give no fucks. My wife need me,
Right.
so I'm about to stop and see what's wrong with her. So for me, I have a partner. So
Mm,
I talks to him, and I know sometimes he be like, "B, I just wish you chill and stop worrying about it. You worry too much." He tells me that all the time. But by me having him, is I don't have to go and really talk and always voice myself to no psychiatrist or nothing like that. I could talk to him about what I need. It's all about who you have to talk, have somebody to talk to, and make sure when you vent it, you leave it vented and don't go back to it, because you can't. We have to learn how to accept things that we cannot change. If you
right.
can't change it, why are you stressing about it? You have to
Mm,
move forward and see what's out there, what's next, because we can miss our blessings holding on to the same thing. If
that's
things is supposed to change, let them change. If
mm,
they supposed to leave, let them leave, let them
right.
go, because that
Right.
means something else better is coming. We have to learn how to deal with change. If we learn how to deal with change, a lot of us won't deal with depression as much.
Give us some ways if let's say black people don't like going to the doctor. Black
Nope.
people don't like talking to psychiatrists. Black people don't
Right.
like talking to therapists and counselors and all that. Can you give us some ways, in your opinion, how you could self-medicate yourself, or ways to cope with it, so to speak?
Well, I already done told you I smoke weed. I'm be honest with you, I self medicate, and I talk to it with my doctor. Actually, they recommended it before I even started it myself. They're finding that it helps people who have emotional problems and all that kind of stuff like that. It helps. So, and it also helps with pain. So by me having fibromyalgia and by me having all of those things, um, I was advised by my doctor to smoke marijuana, which they're finding that is actually helping. So for me, myself medicating is working for me. Me talking to the people that I have to vent to is working for me. Because not only do I have my husband, I have girlfriends. I have three good friends. I talk to Buster, Torian, and Tiffany. I have three people that I talk to. If I need to talk to somebody, I talk to those people. I let them know how I'm feeling, and they give me feedback. And I have good friends to tell me whether I don't want no friend who can't tell me I'm wrong.
No, yes,
You can't, and I don't want no be close to my family who can't tell me I'm wrong. I'm not always right. I'm not gonna always be right. And
ma'am.
there are things that you can see in me. Well, no, cuz you fucked up for that. You shouldn't have did that. I'm be like, bet. Okay, you right. I was fucked up for that. I shouldn't have did that. So I
Mm,
don't want nobody who gonna always pat me on my back. And them three people, they held me accountable. It have held me accountable. You know what I'm saying? For stuff that I'm, supposed to do or whatever like that. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I don't want nobody who gonna be my friend and just constantly pat me on my back. There ain't no way for me to change.
right. That's
Who
like,
gonna change like that?
better ride, you spoil a child.
Yeah, that's
So,
facts.
um, take a minute to speak to that support system, the importance of patience, not giving up on the person, and really trying to understand what a person is going through when you have no knowledge of what the person is going
Yeah, you have to have patience, because I had a lot like me. I start looking at myself is what I start doing, because and I find that I answer better once you take the time to think about what you want to say, think about the things that you want to do before you actually do them. It turns out a little better. You know what
through.
I'm saying? So by that way I learn how to be more patient. And by having more patience, it works out better. And I know my husband got patience with me because I'm cuckoo as fuck. Period. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's all about patience and the willingness to be be there for that person. Like if you really care for that person, whether it's your friend, your family member, your spouse or something like that, it all depends on how you care for that person. Because if you're a person that's going to automatically tap out when something comes bad, then you learn that that person is not for you. Because if they can't stay with you in the trenches, how the hell they gonna be with you when you up? Don't be
Yeah.
with me when I'm up. Be with
Right.
me while I'm in these trenches.
Make
You
it
know what I'm
mean
saying?
something.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
um it's all about patience. If you have patience, it works.
Can the people around you by not understanding or not wanting to understand make it worse?
They can. If they don't choose to try to understand what you're going through, it can make it worse. It really can. Because you be knowing how you feeling with emotion that you're going through, and you're trying to explain it. And if they feel like, oh girl, it's gonna be all right, it ain't all that, then you feel like they
Brush
um
it off.
diminishing or making my issue small, when to me it feel like it's big. Don't diminish with I feel like I'm feeling. Understand what I'm feeling. But a lot of our problems is, and I've learned that we all listen to defend. We never listen to just give informative information back. We
Mm.
listen to defend.
Mm.
So what we have to start doing is start listening to people and hearing what they're saying, instead of us listening and defending what's going on. I don't care if it is. We could be sitting up here talking about the president or whatever, and we decide that we wanted this president to be this president, but don't get mad with me because this is my choice. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Whatever my choice is my choice. You accept my choice just like I accept your choice. And we have to get to the point of doing that. Listening to understand, and understanding that it's okay to disagree. And it's
Right.
it's okay to not agree with somebody saying. It's okay to believe what you believe.
Right.
Until you do the research and understand it more on yourself, it's okay to believe what you believe. It's okay to disagree. We don't have to argue. It's okay that we don't view the same, because we all have opinions. We all will have opinions.
So is one mental illness worse than the other, or are they all equally detrimental to that person in the community?
Depends on the person. Cause I can be a schizophrenic and don't think nothing wrong with being schizophrenic.
Mm.
Whereas a person who with depression feel like it's the worst thing in the whole world. So it really depends on what you believe within yourself, if it's worse or not. A person with bipolar may think it's worse than being bipolar depressed than being regular depressed. So you can't really put if it's worse on it or not, because you don't know the person's condition. A bipolar could become a frantic, a manic. I meant to say become manic. So they could become manic like a schizophrenic. So
Mm.
at the end of the day, it all depends on the person. You can't say what's worse and what's not. A person that's just regular depressed could kill themselves more first before a bipolar person kill themselves, or a schizophrenic kill themselves. So you can't really say which one is the worst. Depends
Can
on the
you
person.
can you explain the difference between depression and anxiety?
And like before, I said anxiety leads to depression.
Mm.
Anxiety is like you have the weight of the world on you. You worried all the time. It makes you it makes you it just makes you feel like everything is going wrong, till you panic. To It's basically your mind playing tricks on you with anxiety. Whereas the depression is the aftermath or the result of the anxiety,
Okay.
because you done got down now because you so anxious that you can't get out of it. So now I'm depressed, I won't be bothered, I don't have nothing to do with nobody, whoop de woo or whatever. You don't want to do none of that no more. So you become depressed because you're so anxious. When you anxious, nothing ain't gonna go right. That's why the Bible said don't be anxious for anything, because anxious
Mm.
leads to depression. It
Mm.
makes it makes us that way. So that's what it is.
Without the knowledge, how would one know they have anxiety?
Anxiety. Um, when you feel like you can't breathe, you feel like your throat closing in, you feel like your stomach hurting, you feel like you almost feel like you dying, like a elephant or something is sitting on your chest,
Damn.
and you feel like you can't get out. There's no way of getting out. That's anxiety.
Wow.
Depression is I'm sleeping all day. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to listen to nobody. I don't have no time for nobody's energy. I just want to be in my own energy, to be with me.
Thanks.
So that's my two different things about the anxiety and the depression when you know that they coming on. When you get to start the feeling like that, and when you feel like you got to put on this fake mask just to go to work to get through the day, you're depressed. You're
Mm-hmm.
depressed. So, and if you think it's going to lead to something bad, you need to talk to somebody. Don't hurt yourself because it ain't worth it. And you got to realize you have somebody here that love you.
So with the anxiety, right? Is that a self-medicating thing that you could deal with on your own, or do you need medication or professional
Um, it goes both ways. It depends on what you want for yourself. Some
help?
people go with the medicine because the medicine lift the weight and stuff off their chest. But if you talk to somebody about it and do breathing exercises and stuff like that, you can do it without medication. It depends on the individual with that one too, because at the end of the day, they may need medicine. You know what I'm saying? Some people may not be as strong as some another person. It goes on, they strengthen the ability to accept things, accepting things that they can't change, basically.
So talk to the people who don't deal with anxiety but have to deal with anxiety, meaning a family member, a close friend, or somebody close to a close friend. How can they better deal with it without saying I don't want to deal with it?
You mean like somebody that's a friend of someone who has anxiety?
Like if you're a family member, if you're a friend of somebody that has anxiety, if you're a friend of a friend, or like you work with somebody, um, give us some ways how that person could deal with that person with anxiety without just washing their hands of them.
Okay, well, the first thing is to kind of get them up in a safe space where they could feel like they're safe. If you could get them up in a place where they feel like they're safe and they're able to talk and vent at that moment, you could probably kind of get them to calm down and use there's breathing exercises for anxiety and panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you learn how to do the breathing exercise for the anxiety and panic attacks, and putting them in a safe area and making them feel like they're safe, you can kind of get through that person and get them to kind of calm down, because at that point their mind is everywhere. When you having a bad anxiety and panic attack, you feel like you actually dying. You feel like your throat is closing up. You cannot breathe, like something is on your chest. So at
Wow.
that time, it's your mind that's working against you. So what you have to do is slow down your mind. And by slowing down your mind, you have to slow down and do exercises, breathing exercises, so you can actually understand what's going on with you. Because if you get to panic, the next thing they're going to do is give you a sedative or something to calm you down, because that's all they're going to give you is something to calm you down. Once you calm down and you begin to think about what you was thinking about before, bam, panic attack and anxiety comes right back again. It doesn't goes anywhere. So what you have to do is focus on what is bothering you and understand that I cannot change what just happened. I can only go through it and see where I'm gonna be at on the other side. Because if you don't try to find the other side, you're gonna keep being stuck in that side, in that panic and that anxiety and not knowing what's going on. You have to feel, you know, like trying to figure it out. Because if you don't try to figure out, you're gonna stay in that wall. You ever seen back in the day they had these little clown things that you punch it and they go down and they pop right back up?
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
anxiety does. You can
Mm-hmm.
fight it, pop, pop, and it goes back, but eventually it comes back up. When it
Mm-hmm.
come back up, you have to know how to fight that sucker again, because you're gonna have to keep fighting it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna keep attacking. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep coming. The same thing with depression. It's the same thing. Just
Mm-hmm.
like that little bag, you have to keep fighting it. Let it go on, lay back for a while, and when it rise back up, make sure you be strong enough to fight that sucker again.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do that, it's better off than them putting you on these chemically drugs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Being on these drugs that'll make you do anything. You might turn on your family. And that's not something you want to do.
Can
You know
you
what I'm
speak on the
saying?
side effects of the magic? Can you
That
speak?
medication
Yeah.
ain't no joke. It ain't no joke. I'm a witness. I know.
What are some
I
of the
know.
side effects of the medication?
It kind of made me outside of myself. I wasn't my normal self. Stuff I was doing I would have never did before. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Stuff it makes you do some weird things that your normal self would not do, and you're not realizing you doing it until you coming off that medication. So it took me to come off the medication to sit down and evaluate myself, what I went through and what I was going through, to know that you didn't went crazy, because you would have never did no shit like that. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And then I
Right.
had to talk to the doctor who prescribed it, and I left being his patient, because
Mm-hmm.
I no longer wanted to take no more of that medicine. He kept trying to push medicine on me. He changed it from the first one, then he gave me the second one. It did the opposite. It made me sleep, and I won't even go outside. I felt like outside was gonna attack me. Shit was gonna come. I stayed in the house. I did
Mm-hmm.
not leave out the house. I stayed in the house. So after I realized it was the medications, I left them alone. You have to figure out who you are. And if you know you doing stuff that you don't normally do, you need to leave that medicine alone, because it ain't for you. It ain't for you.
In your opinion, which one is the worst? What's the worst one that you could be diagnosed with?
Schizophrenia to me, because they can't control some things. You know what I'm saying? They can't control their mind. And if they got these voices talking to them and telling them to do something, and they at will to do it because their mind is playing a trick on them, that's the worst. That's
Wow.
the worst one for me.
Damn. So before we get out of here, just talk to the people about mental health awareness, mental health, and just talk to them.
Well, guys, before we head out, I just want to just let you know, y'all, stay prayed up, because a lot of us are going having some hard times right now, and having hard times bring on anxiety, panic, worry, and that brings on depression. Well, depression can cause us to do things to ourselves that we don't, want to do. I want to let you guys know that there is help out there, and you just have to find somebody that you can talk to, a person that you know that's not going to judge you, that it's a safe space that you're able to vent in. You need one of those. If you feel like you need a doctor, you get you a doctor. If you feel like you don't, and it's somebody that can help mentor you and have you in a better place and better state of mind, if it's a spiritual advisor, get with them. But depression is not something that you want to sit on, because you don't want to take yourself from your family. You don't want to take yourself from your children, your grandchildren, your loved ones, none of that. So it's really serious that, you go and get it checked. Get yourself checked. Make sure you healthy. If you make sure that you healthy with mind, body, and spirit, you can be a better person in the world and help somebody else. So that's my mental health advice to everyone. And I hope you guys have a good night.
Yeah. Thank you. It's P. Dunn the General to NOLA the podcast. Keep your body clean, huh?
That's it.
You heard me? Thank you, cousin. Thank you,
All right.
cousin. You
All
already
right.
know.
See you later.
All
Love
right.
you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
From us damn street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all of that damn shit. That's what you trying to say.
Do what you do, baby.
Yeah, I want congrats. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me?
Real.
Yeah. I'm saying, like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole joke, and I'm looking at the screen like preach. Cause I was on the phone with him, you feel me? So you know what I'm saying?